the Lord Buddha was born in 623 BC in the sacred area of Lumbini located in the Terai plains of southern Nepal, testified by the inscription on the pillar erected by the Mauryan Emperor Asoka in 249 BC. Lumbini is one of the holiest places of one of the world's great religions, and its remains contain important evidence about the nature of Buddhist pilgrimage centers from as early as the 3rd century BC. The complex of structures within the archaeological conservation area includes the Shakya Tank, the remains within the Maya Devi Temple consisting of brick structures in a crosswall system dating from the 3rd century BC to the present century, and the sandstone Ashoka pillar with its Pali inscription in Brahmi script. Additionally, there are the excavated remains of Buddhist viharas, monasteries, of the 3rd century BC to the 5th century AD, and the remains of Buddhist stupas, memorial shrines, from the 3rd century BC to the 15th century AD. The site is now being developed as a Buddhist pilgrimage center, where the archaeological remains associated with the birth of the Lord Buddha form a central feature.
As the birthplace of the Lord Buddha, testified by the inscription on the Ashoka pillar, the sacred area in Lumbini is one of the most holy and significant places for one of the world's great religions. The archaeological remains of the Buddhist viharas, monasteries, and stupas, memorial shrines, from the 3rd century BC to the 15th century AD, provide important evidence about the nature of Buddhist pilgrimage centers from a very early period. The integrity of Lumbini has been achieved by means of preserving the archaeological remains within the property boundary that give the property its outstanding universal value. The significant attributes and elements of the property have been preserved. The buffer zone gives the property a further layer of protection. Further excavations of potential archaeological sites and appropriate protection of the archaeological remains are a high priority for the integrity of the property. The property boundary, however, does not include the entire archaeological site, and various parts are found in the buffer zone. The entire property, including the buffer zone, is owned by the government of Nepal and is being managed by the Lumbini Development Trust, and therefore there is little threat of development or neglect. However, the effects of industrial development in the region have been identified as a threat to the integrity of the property.
The authenticity of the archaeological remains within the boundaries has been confirmed through a series of excavations since the discovery of the Ashoka pillar in 1896. The remains of viharas, stupas, and numerous layers of brick structures from the 3rd century BC to the present century at the site of the Maya Devi Temple are proof of Lumbini having been a center of pilgrimage from early times. The archaeological remains require active conservation and monitoring to ensure that the impact of natural degradation, influence of humidity, and the impact of the visitors are kept under control. The property continues to express its outstanding universal value through its archaeological remains. The delicate balance must be maintained between conserving the archaeological vestiges of the property while providing for the pilgrims.
property site is protected by the Ancient Monument Preservation Act 1956. The site management is carried out by the Lumbini Development Trust, an autonomous and non-profit making organization. The entire property is owned by the government of Nepal. The property falls within the center of the master plan area, the planning of which was initiated together with the United Nations and carried out by Professor Kenzo Tange between 1972 and 1978. The long-term challenges for the protection and management of the property are to control the impact of visitors and natural impacts including humidity and the industrial development in the region. A management plan is in the process of being developed to ensure the long-term safeguarding of the archaeological vestiges of the property while allowing for the property to continue being visited by pilgrims and tourists from around the world. UNESCO World Heritage Convention.
Was born in Lumbini Garden while his mother Maya Devi was on her way from Kapilvastu to her maternal home in Devdaha. He was born on the full moon under a sal tree in the month of Baishakh of Nepali calendar or in 623 BC of Gregorian calendar. Immediately after the birth, the future Lord Shakyamuni Buddha took 7 steps to the north, looked around and announced, "This is my last birth, henceforth there will be no rebirth for me in the Lumbini garden." He was given the purification bath in the Pushkarini pond. Queen Maya Devi passed away after 7 days of the birth of Prince Siddhartha, and his stepmother Prajapati Gautami raised the prince.
Today, the Maya Devi Temple, dedicated to the mother of Lord Shakyamuni Buddha, is the most revered holy shrine for the Buddhist pilgrims. Visitors can see the Ashoka pillar bearing the testimony of the birth of Prince Siddhartha just next to the temple in the sacred garden of Lumbini. Pushkarini pond, where the newly born prince was given the first purification bath, lies near the Maya Devi Temple.